During the 7 years I led the Liberal Democrats, all the leaders of the three main parties, David Cameron, Gordon Brown, Ed Miliband and I, had young children. Yet, until 2010, the Palace of Westminster did not house a creche. It did, however, house a rifle range. I never found it, but the Guardian writer Simon Hoggart did in the basement of the House of Lords. You could borrow a .22 caliber single-shot rifle and ear defenders, he wrote in 2013, and blaze away while an instructor, who was always present, told you to squeeze the trigger, don't tug at the bloody thing. All, naturally, at the taxpayer's expense. The parliamentary estate has no fewer than 8 subsidised bars in which parliamentarians, their staff and guests can drink away the long Westminster nights, but there is a shortage of ladies' loos and a distinct lack of convenient disabled access. In Michael Cockerell's 2015 BBC documentary, Inside the Commons, David Cameron described the Palace of Westminster as half like a museum, half like a church, half like a school. Ignoring the mathematical error in that statement, the last comparison is particularly telling. Parliament is like a school if you went to an oak-panelled public school. It is full of private codes, unspoken rules and bizarre rituals. The architecture is grand and Gothic. Many of the staff wear oddly old-fashioned uniforms. The dining areas feel like public school canteens. It all reinforces an elitist atmosphere. If you are raised in a certain way, it is a world that you implicitly understand. If not, it can seem as if you've landed on another planet. I went to an outstanding and exclusive private school myself, just a stone's throw from Parliament, yet even I have spent the last decade feeling that other people know the secret to how Parliament really works. Perhaps Parliament's most unattractive quality is that it deliberately orchestrates and amplifies confrontation. Winston Churchill, accidentally or otherwise, had a significant hand in ensuring this was so. After the wartime bombing of the House of Commons chamber by the Luftwaffe, Churchill argued that it should be rebuilt in such a way that there would not be enough space to fit all of the MPs at once. He argued, "The essence of good House of Commons speaking is the conversational style, the facility for quick informal interruptions and interchanges. Harangues from a rostrum would be a bad substitute for the conversational style in which so much of our business is done. But the conversational style requires a fairly small space, and there should be on great occasions a sense of crowd and urgency." He certainly created a sense of crowd and urgency. When the chamber is packed with MPs standing, squatting, and hunched in every available spare space, there are few experiences that compare to the wall of white noise generated by hundreds of puce-faced middle-aged men shouting at each other from benches just a few feet apart. Trying to make yourself heard in the face of the antics of some MPs is not always easy. At least Winston Churchill did not have to speak as I did once, with Jack Straw, the respected elder statesman of the Labour Party, gurning hysterically at me, his eyes wide and his face bright red as he counted out the incorrect number of my supposed sexual conquests on his fingers. Some MPs crouch in the gangway out of the Speaker's line of sight and out of earshot from the hanging microphones, shouting expletives at each other. The Labour MP, Sarah Champion, described an insidious sexist culture in which some MPs can often be found gesticulating about female assets. Indeed, in 2004, researchers from Birkbeck College reported what they described as shocking levels of sexist abuse, with male MPs pretending to juggle imaginary breasts and shouting melons as female MPs spoke in the Commons. Parliament is famously unrepresentative of the population at large. We may have a female Prime Minister, but women make up little more than a quarter of all MPs, with none in the much depleted Lib Dem parliamentary party. Just 41 of 650 are from ethnic minorities. Almost 1/3 of current MPs went to a private school, of whom 1 in 10 went to Eton. More than a quarter of MPs went to university in Oxford or Cambridge. Westminster is not a normal place, and most politicians I know are not especially normal.